Disclaimer: unseen is a fluid concept. On-the-ground verification by local fixers or guides remains paramount for your 2025 feature. The ancient and overgrown temples beyond Angkor's shadow. These sites offer a profound sense of discovery, where nature and history intertwine. Angkor's Prasat Pur and Prasat Srey, current status, 2025, the main Angkor pyramid, Prasat Tom, is increasingly on tour itineraries. However, the wider Angkor archaeological park is vast. Prasat Pur and Prasat Srey remain less visited. Road conditions within the park are generally good, but access to these specific temples might still involve slightly rougher tracks or walking through light jungle. The Tomb Raider feel is well preserved due to less intervention. Unseen element: the sheer scale of Angkor means most tourists focus on the pyramid. These smaller, more overgrown temples are true gems for those willing to explore deeper, offering unique photographic opportunities of roots embracing stone. Many local villagers might know them, but not necessarily local tour operators from Siem Reap, adding to their unseen charm for a broader audience. How to experience: hire a local guide from Angkor village rather than Siem Reap, who knows the specific routes to these satellite temples. Emphasize slow exploration and photography. Beng Meali's outer edges, current status, 2025, Beng Meali is a popular day trip from Siem Reap, particularly since the wooden boardwalk was installed. This has made it very accessible for mainstream tourism. Unseen element: the unseen aspect here is not the temple itself, but venturing off the main boardwalk with a permissioned and highly experienced local guide. This allows access to the truly collapsed sections, hidden doorways, and areas where the jungle's embrace is most dramatic and unrestored. This requires more agility, and a genuine adventurous spirit, and few visitors undertake it. How to experience: clearly state that this involves going beyond the standard tourist path and requires a local guide with specific knowledge of the temple's less accessible areas, potentially seeking permission from site authorities beforehand. Phnom Chisa's secret chambers and views, current status, 2025, Phnom Chisa is a well-known historical site south of Phnom Penh, popular for its views and as a day trip. The main temple is easily accessible via stairs. Unseen element: the smaller meditation caves and shrines around the main temple, especially those on the lower slopes or slightly off the main ascent path, are often overlooked. These are not grand, but offer a more intimate, spiritual connection and often provide unique vantage points or quiet contemplation spots. How to experience: encourage exploration beyond the direct path to the summit. A local villager living near the base might be able to point out these less obvious spots. Prakan Kompong Sphai, Prasat Bakan, current status, 2025, still considered one of Cambodia's most remote and least visited major Angkorian sites. Roads have improved somewhat, but it remains a significant journey. It's open to the public daily from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m., with an admission fee, $20 for adults as of recent info. Travel from Siem Reap is estimated at 2 to 3 hours by private taxi. Unseen element: its sheer size and remoteness mean that even among temple enthusiasts, few have dedicated the time and effort to explore it fully. The vastness of its outer walls and the jungle within create an overwhelming sense of discovery. It truly feels like an ancient city swallowed by time. How to experience: highlight the adventurous journey. Emphasize hiring a reliable 4x4 vehicle and driver for a full-day trip, or overnight stay for deeper exploration. Note that there are local villages nearby where one can interact and sample local food. Bantichma's Inner Sanctuary, current status, 2025, Bantichma is a recognized heritage site, and efforts are ongoing to promote responsible tourism here. It's more accessible than Prakan Kampong Svai, but still requires a dedicated trip, often an overnight from Siem Reap. Unseen element: beyond the well-photographed large structures and face towers, the temple's intricate bas-reliefs often extend into less accessible, overgrown, or partially collapsed inner galleries. These unrestored sections offer a raw, untouched beauty and reveal incredible details that require close inspection. Many visitors only see the most famous sections. How to experience: recommend staying overnight in the community-based tourism (CBT) homestays. Local guides affiliated with the CBT project are invaluable for navigating the complex and pointing out these hidden artistic details. 2. Nature's hidden oases, waterfalls, caves, and secluded shores. These spots offer tranquility and natural beauty, often known primarily to locals. Anlong Svai Waterfall, Kampong Chong Province, current status, 2025, recent reports, as of early 2025, indicate it's gaining some traction, particularly for local weekend trips and adventurous day hikes from Phnom Penh. It's located in Tok Phos District, Kampong Chong Province, roughly 57 kilometers from Kampong Chong town. Some tour operators, like Indochina VIP Tour, offer organized hikes. Unseen element: while it's becoming known, its remote location and the need for a jungle trek, described as 2.5 kilometers hike following a 9-level waterfall area, keep it largely off the radar for mainstream international tourists. It offers a true jungle swim experience. How to experience: advise seeking local guides in Kampong Chong or joining a specialized hiking tour from Phnom Penh for safety and navigation. Highlight the multi-tiered nature of the falls. Tangyu Waterfall, Phnom Thpeng, Pravahir, current status, 2025, this waterfall is part of the Phnom Thpeng Meanchi area, which is a local attraction, particularly for hiking and spiritual retreats. Wat Tangyu, Rocktop Pagoda. The Community Protected Area Center at the base offers guidance. Improvements like wooden stairs were being installed as of early 2023. Unseen element: it's very much a local gem, not widely known internationally. The trek to the waterfall and the pagoda atop the monolith offers scenic views and a cultural experience. The presence of multiple smaller waterfalls along the stream adds to the discovery. How to experience: emphasize this as a hiking destination. Suggest inquiring at the Tangyu Community Protected Area Center for local guides. Note it's best in the rainy season for full flow but has water year-round. The mystery beach of Koh Rong Samloem, or newly discovered coves, current status, 2025, Koh Rong Samloem is increasingly popular, and many beaches, Lazy Beach, Saracen Bay, are well known. However, the island's relatively undeveloped nature means hidden spots can still exist. Some guides still refer to a mystery beach, indicating its elusive quality. Unseen element: the specific mystery lies in discovering truly untouched stretches of sand, perhaps only accessible by a small local boat or a challenging jungle trek from the main bays. Development is rapid, so the key is to find spots before they get developed. How to experience: suggest chartering a local fishing boat from a more developed beach, like Saracen Bay, and asking the captain to take you to the most secluded, undeveloped coves they know. Emphasize leaving no trace. Hidden Caves of Kamport, beyond Phnom Chinok, current status, 2025, Phnom Chinok, the cave temple, is well visited. However, the limestone casts surrounding Kamport are riddled with numerous smaller, less publicized caves. Phnom Sorsha, for instance, which features a Buddhist pagoda and white elephant cave, is currently being highlighted in recent travel content, 2025 video. Unseen element: these aren't grand caves. They are often smaller, more challenging to access, or used primarily by locals for spiritual practices, shelter, or even farming. They offer a raw, untouched caving experience. How to experience: recommend hiring a local motorbike driver or a guide from Angkor who has lived in the area for a long time. Inquire about local secret caves, emphasizing safety and preparedness, headlamps, good shoes. Phnom Sorcha could be a prime example of a hidden cave that's now becoming known, but still off the mass tourism circuit. Uzian Lair Waterfall, Ratanakiri, current status, 2025. This waterfall, also known as Uzian Lair or Seven Steps Waterfall, remains off the beaten track. It's located 26 to 30 kilometers southwest of Ban Lung. Roads have reportedly improved sufficiently for adventurous travelers in the dry season, but still require a truck or 4WD with an experienced driver. It's a full-day trip, and no amenities are available on site. Unseen element: its remote location in Ratanakiri, and the challenging access means it sees very few international visitors. It's a multi-tiered waterfall nestled deep in preserved tropical jungle, offering a raw and isolated nature experience. How to experience: advise travelers to arrange transport, 4WD or truck, and a local guide from Ban Lung. Stress the need for pre-packaged meals and drinks, and proper preparation for a full day in the jungle. 3. Cultural immersion and living heritage, villages, arts, and daily life. These experiences offer authentic glimpses into local life, often away from commercialized settings. The Stray Cat Pagoda, or similar community initiatives, current status, 2025. Specific stray cat pagodas often refer to informal community care. You need to find one that maintains this character and isn't overly commercialized. Unseen element: the true unseen wonder isn't a named site but rather a living example of local compassion or unique, unpublicized community projects. This could be a small temple that dedicates itself to animal welfare, a community garden, or a small, non-profit traditional arts school in a quiet neighborhood. How to experience: requires genuine interaction with locals. Perhaps ask guesthouse owners or local university students about community initiatives or places where local traditions are authentically preserved. Emphasize respectful engagement and a willingness to contribute or learn. Mekong River Islands, beyond Koh Trong, current status, 2025, Koh Trong near Kratie, is a well-known ecotourism island. However, the Mekong's sheer size means many smaller, unnamed, or sparsely populated islands still exist. Unseen element: these islands are not on tourist maps. They might be small agricultural islands, temporary fishing camps, or home to a handful of families living very traditional lives. Their unseen nature comes from their lack of infrastructure and the need to actively seek them out. How to experience: inquire with local fishermen or boat owners in smaller towns along the Mekong, for example, Kampong Cham, Stung Treng, or even south of Kratie, about lesser-known islands. Be prepared for very basic facilities and an authentic, quiet experience. Remote ethnic minority villages, Cardamom Mountains, Ratanakiri, Mundulkiri, current status, 2025, responsible tourism initiatives are growing, often through community-based ecotourism projects. Reputable tour operators offer tours to specific villages that are prepared for visitors. Examples include villages around Vairachie National Park, Ratanakiri, or certain areas in the Cardamoms. Unseen element: the challenge, and the unseen aspect, is finding villages that are not part of established tourism routes, where visits are still truly rare and authentic, and can be done ethically. This requires deep connections with local NGOs or long-term residents. How to experience: crucially, stress responsible tourism. Partner with NGOs, ethical tour operators, like those specializing in responsible travel from sites like Responsible Travel, which list Cambodia tours for 2025 to 2026, or community-based tourism initiatives that ensure visits directly benefit the community and respect their customs. Avoid unannounced visits. Phnom Penh's back alley art studios/galleries, current status, 2025. Phnom Penh's art scene is vibrant but often concentrated in specific areas. The unseen aspect lies in finding those truly independent, word-of-mouth studios. Unseen element, these are often private workspaces or small, pop-up galleries tucked away in unassuming alleys or residential areas, not on Google Maps. They represent the raw, evolving artistic pulse of the city. How to experience, network with local artists, art students, or ask shopkeepers in areas known for creative businesses, for example, Street 240 vicinity, sometimes Russian market area for artisan workshops. Look for subtle signs or small, handwritten notices. Traditional Khmer silk weaving villages, lesser known ones, current status, 2025, Chongko Village, Phnom Penh, is a well-known silk weaving village, accessible by river cruise. The goal is to find alternatives that are less commercialized. Unseen element, these are villages where silk weaving is primarily for local consumption or small-scale trade, rather than a tourist attraction. They often involve simpler methods and a more intimate look at the family-run process. How to experience, venture into the countryside outside of major cities, for example, Kampong Cham, Takeo, or even quieter parts of Kandal province. Inquire with local community leaders or guest house owners about villages where traditional weaving is still a primary livelihood and visitors are welcomed respectfully. 4. Historical echoes and abandoned places, a glimpse into the past. These sites offer poignant reminders of Cambodia's complex history, often in a raw, untouched state. Krua Ray Historical Site, Kratie, current status, 2025. The Krua Ray Historical Site in Kratie is described as one of the most visited tourist attractions of the tinsel town of Kratie for locals and international visitors. This suggests it's not entirely unseen by international tourists anymore, but might still be less known than, say, Irrawaddy dolphins. Unseen element, the unseen aspect might lie in specific, unpublicized buildings or stories within the site that are primarily known by older locals or historians. It could also refer to the type of tourism it receives, predominantly local families, rather than backpackers. How to experience, focus on the narratives and specific hidden architectural or historical details that aren't immediately obvious. Interview locals about the site's deeper significance beyond what's presented in general information. Abandoned colonial villas in Kep, beyond the famous ones, current status, 2025, the abandoned villas of Kep are a well-known feature of the town, attracting photographers and urban explorers. However, many are heavily overgrown, and some are harder to access. Unseen element, the unseen part here is finding the truly hidden villas, deep in the overgrown areas or within the national park, requiring a short trek or a local guide to pinpoint their exact location. Some are so swallowed by nature they are barely visible. How to experience, hire a local guide in Kep, often motorbike drivers double as informal guides, who knows the more remote or deeply overgrown villa ruins. Emphasize safety as these structures are unstable. Lesser-known Khmer Rouge sites/remnants, current status, 2025, while official sites like Sheung Ek and S21 are crucial, countless smaller, unofficial sites exist. Many are left untouched, often known only to those who lived through the period. Unseen element, these are deeply sensitive sites, often just overgrown fields or remnants of buildings with no markers. Their unseen nature is due to their lack of official recognition, and their painful local memory. How to experience, extreme sensitivity is paramount. This should not be treated as urban exploration. If included, it must be approached with the utmost respect. This might involve speaking with local elders, via a trusted translator, who might share stories or point to such sites, understanding that they might prefer not to disclose them to outsiders. It is vital to ensure no disrespect is caused and to understand the profound impact these sites still have on communities. Phnom Sumbok Pagoda's remote hermitages, Kratie, current status, 2025, Phnom Sumbok, a pagoda atop a hill with many steps, is a known local pilgrimage site near Kratie. Unseen element: the unseen part lies in the smaller, less obvious meditation spots, hermitages, or shrines tucked away on the slopes or in quieter areas around the main pagoda, often used by individual monks or devout locals for deeper contemplation. They are not advertised and require respectful inquiry. How to experience: after visiting the main pagoda, respectfully ask local monks or community members if there are quiet, less visited areas for meditation or smaller shrines. Be mindful of spiritual practices. Old abandoned railway sections, Battambang/elsewhere, current status, 2025, the Battambang bamboo train is a tourist attraction, but the actual railway lines have been largely dormant, or under slow reconstruction. Sections remain abandoned. Urban exploration of abandoned railway stations, like the one in Battambang, is possible. Unseen element: the unseen here refers to segments of the old tracks that run through remote countryside, hidden tunnels, or crumbling old bridges that are not part of any tourist route. They offer a tangible connection to Cambodia's past infrastructure. How to experience requires local knowledge. Inquire with older residents in towns that were once railway hubs, Battambang, Porsat, Kamport. For safety, avoid active lines or unstable structures. Focus on the historical context and the unique photographic opportunities.